Hello everyone and welcome back. This is game number 2 of the losers round matchup between KingsIndian and Ihatehairyspiders. This time KingsIndian chose the map. It is Tokai Valley, a map that we haven't really seen. I can't recall ever seeing it in this tournament, but it's actually pretty interesting nonetheless. We're looking for KingsIndian's perspective. He is in red as the Mori. On the other side is Hairyspiders and blue as the Hojo. And we're also raining here on Tokai Valley, which is actually very interesting because we're looking at this map here, and it's got these two tree stands here off to the side around with the buildings. And what's very interesting about these tree stands is obviously cavalry gets a combat penalty in the trees, so if you move your army through the middle here and try and entice the cavalry to attack on the flanks, you could pin them down in the forest and make short work of the cavalry. So with the rain here, I think that does slow down the enemy cavalry, so I think that KingsIndian is really planning on fighting this battle in the forest, maybe against a lot of cavalry. But starting off in the trees over here is a good idea because it just buys him that much more time of his opponent not knowing what he's doing and being unable to plan for it. And speaking of KingsIndian's build here, we have his classic Yari core, all these Yari samurai, Naginata monks, Yari Ashigaru, one katana hero here in the middle, and only a few cavalry. So we hope we can see that great micro that really brings out the best in this build, and manage to even beat the Great Prussian Prince in a game by just forcing him to get out microed. So it's a very interesting build. I'd love to see it. We'll see if it works here on his home turf to get the win and the series to move on to face Indie Pride. Looking over here, also I guess I should talk about Hairyspiders' build. He has a katana core going with the 6 katana samurai. He's got some Naginata monks, Yari Ashigaru, so fairly similar to what we saw in the last one, but it looks like he eschewed the no-dachis this time in favor of some more katanas. Maybe thinking this map isn't the best one to try and get a good charge off with all these hills everywhere and trees and such. But also that Yari Ashigaru front line, I see a lot of people do the no-dachis and the Yari Ashigaru front line, and I really don't recommend that because your own men standing in front of your charge really does a lot to just lessen its effectiveness. Obviously you're running right into your own guys and it really breaks your momentum, so I really don't recommend it. It's either one or the other generally, unless you're using no-dachis on the flanks or something, of course. But it's kind of interesting because KingsIndian here has kind of seeded the middle actually, and I think that Hairyspiders should be taking advantage of that and getting this shrine. When we're talking about going against the Yari core, most of the time these spears won't straight up win an engagement, especially against swords, but they can outlast the opponent as their defense is very, very high. I mean, Yari Samurai talk about, yeah, swords beat spears, and that is true, but especially these rank 5 Yari Samurai can really last a long time against swords and could be able to wear him down and get him to rout. I think that shrine is very important here for Hairyspiders to get. If he can capture the shrine, I think it's going to make him that much more likely to win by quite a bit. Looking at cavalry here on KingsIndian's side, he has 1, 2 katana cavalry. It's a great choice to bring katana cavalry. Some people ask me, is katana or Yari cavalry better? And it really depends on your setup. For this build, katana cavalry is much better than Yari cavalry because you look at Yari cavalry, they're great on the charge, sure, but their spears make them good against cavalry. So if you don't have as much defense against cavalry, Yari cavalry are really good because you can use them to block charges and kill the enemy cavalry. But look at all these spears. You really have nothing to worry about from cavalry. So bringing those katana cavalry, who are better at killing infantry, is a much better choice. And if you can place those guys and right where they need to be after the Yaris have engaged and held down the enemy, they'll do a lot of damage. So katana cavalry is definitely the way to go with this build. It's just a really well thought out build. And it's worked quite well for him in this tournament. Both sides are sort of squaring off here now. This is KingsIndian's choice, so it is his responsibility to attack, and it is actually a very tough place to attack, especially at the Yari core. There's no way you're getting a good charge off up these hills, so Hairyspiders knows that all he has to do is sit and wait on this hill, and it would be probably fairly easy for him to win this. We'll have to see what KingsIndian is planning on doing here because he does have to move out, but he did get the shrine. That's going to be very important. KingsIndian with the shrine here, those experienced Yari Samurai and such, is going to be very hard to break this army. Looks like the Great Guard here were trying to block it, but didn't quite get there, as this is now controlled by KingsIndian. Who's even this Yari Ashigaru here, which is nice. So it looks like the cavalry, while mounted in the range, won't actually block that capture. Unless they got there a little late, I wasn't paying too much attention to the buildings. Archery Dojo's been captured by Hairyspiders, but I don't think he has a single ranged unit. I didn't see one. Nope, doesn't look like he does, so it's going to be essentially pointless. But now that he has the building, KingsIndian, looks like he has decided to move out. And we'll see what kind of angle he wants to go on this attack. knowing that he's going to go straight up a hill, going directly at the enemy is probably not the best choice. Maybe flank around and get on this hill, maybe somewhere over here, and attacking straight on this way, especially being in the trees to make him that much more impervious to cavalry, would be the way to go, I would imagine. One unit of cavalry is hidden off here in the trees. We just saw him disappear, so maybe he's hoping that KingsIndian will forget about him and be able to get around the back, but there just aren't very many holes with this army for cavalry to get into. It's very tough to attack against. KingsIndian advancing very... No, now he's actually changing direction. Let's see if he's just going to go head on here, because Ihatehairyspiders has also changed direction. It looks like Ihatehairyspiders, good choice here, just to try and shift his army and let KingsIndian know that he's not getting on this hill. He's going to have to attack straight on if he wants to fight here. So maybe... Kind of interesting, this choice of map. It is a very hard map to use cavalry on because of all the trees. There's just not a whole lot of room to maneuver. You can get pinned down. But on the other hand, these hills here make it very tough to attack on if your opponent sits on this hill and dares you to attack him, which Ihatehairyspiders is smartly doing. It's a good defensive position. People I know not used to hearing me talk about defense in a good way, but sometimes it's better to defend him with this hill right here, especially if he gets a nice downhill charge. Would do a lot in just winning this battle, because it looks like KingsIndian is getting bunched up a little bit, and if he gets too clamped together, he could walk right into a sawmill of katanas here and just get cut apart. But this one Ihatehairyspiders going to the front is actually a good idea, because it's distracted a Ihatehairyspiders and a katana samurai, so the more units he can get broken up here, and so he won't get such that focused attack, is a good thing. Katana Hero's running up the hill now to the katana samurai, so actually caught him in a good spot, and it wasn't very far uphill, so still gets an okay charge off. Kills about 8 men. This katana hero will surely rip right through his katana samurai, especially as the katana cavalry is going down there. So it was a good job to pull that one unit off and just make this army as small as he can before the main engagement. And he's splitting up a little bit, making a long line of Yaris, but the downfall of this long line is that your general radius isn't as wide as it could be, and that can be very important coming down the stretch. So he does have the shrine backing him up, which could very well be enough morale to spread his line out and have it work successfully. So the Ihatehairyspiders isn't spear wall, but they're already winded, which is not a good sign going into the katana samurai. And hopefully he's going to charge here, because these hills are good defensive positions, but defensive positions aren't as strong as they seem, and so sitting on this hill and taking the attack isn't as good as waiting for the right moment and charging downhill and getting a big attack off. That's always what you want to do on a hill, especially if you have a bunch of swords up front. So KingsIndian getting very bunched up in the middle. Not sure that's a good idea, because this Ihatehairyspiders, if he's in spear wall, looks like he is, so he could be walking right into a meat grinder here. Actually on both sides, but it looks like Ihatehairyspiders could get the better of this. His general is already in a stand-and fight. KingsIndian is also getting a stand-and fight as well, but there are a lot of holes here. There are a lot of holes for Ihatehairyspiders cavalry to come up here, especially since the Naginata monks are now moving up to join the battle. The Ihatehairyspiders are losing 58 men. The monks and these katana samurai are holding so well. This monk's still at 118. The katana samurai is at 116, and they're just tearing through these Ihatehairyspiders. The spear wall is not as good if they're not experienced. These are fresh Ihatehairyspiders, and they're just getting obliterated from the katanas head on. It does help that they are uphill. Kisho ninjas out of nowhere throwing bombs in the general. Oh my gosh, we have another bomb attack on a general. Bell made this famous in losers round, or the first round. Not even losers round. Can they get that second bomb throw off? No, so he won't get the general with that ninja attack, but very nice, very ballsy. Love that sort of thing. Doesn't get the general, but it may have put KingsIndian on high alert here. Now a second wave of Ihatehairyspiders were coming in for KingsIndian, or for Ihatehairyspiders. It looks like KingsIndian is getting the worst of this, because this side is just outright won. The katana samurai have just mowed right through here, and so they can get around and flank and hit the rear and take out this infantry, or go straight for the general. Cavalry is moving back to support here. The katana cavalry going into the Naginata monks, getting a good charge downhill. But oh, this Yari cavalry is going to get a big charge into this huge clump here, and they're all going to get the morale bonus. Morale bars are dropping. That's the hold firm. The reason why they didn't get that big morale penalty. But it's starting to drop now, going down to the red as it just wore off. Naginata monks are going to rout here. Kisho ninjas are tearing through the Ihatehairyspiders. Looks like they're going to win here, down to 22 men, but 42 on the Yari. Oh, they're just getting absolutely destroyed, and they're wavering, so they will probably rout. And now the general is getting engaged by this infantry and the Kisho ninja, so it looks like Ihatehairyspiders is going to hold here, a very good hold, and making sure that no units got around to his flank. It looks like he even tried with these Yari samurai over here, but just getting stopped by the Ihatehairyspiders. So not a favorable position for KingsIndian to be attacking to, and his attack was a little disorganized, a little bit sloppy, and he ended up paying for it as he just got mowed through by these units on the flanks, which had come in and collapsed around that center, which was a little too compact these katanas and the spear wall Ashigaru were able to just mow right through them. The general is gone for King's Indian, so Harry Spiders looks like he's going to win this one, but it's still fairly close in terms of numbers. There's still plenty of units left on the field for King's Indian, but without that general, it's going to be huge. The morale's getting down to the red. We see wavering there on the far side from these Yari samurai. Red morale here in the middle with the Yari samurai, and still just plenty of men left for Harry Spiders. So it looks like Harry Spiders is going to take game number 2 on his opponent's home turf. That shrine really the shrine is huge. It's such a good building. As you can see, even with the general gone and the numbers very much in Harry Spiders' favor, the units for King's Indian are still standing and fighting. It's a great building to have, one of the best in the game, up there right with the workshop. You could even argue that it's better. More of an opinion sort of thing, but it is an excellent building nonetheless. Wavering now. There's a Katana Hero. Katana Hero is still here, one of the first units to engage. It still has 15 men in it. But he's going to take a charge from the Great Guard, so not going to be as many here in a few seconds. Sitting at 14. The wavering, there goes a unit for King's Indian. Mass wavering. This is it. Harry Spiders going to pull out the win. There's one unit left. There goes the Katana Hero, and Harry Spiders takes game number 2. The series is all tied up. We're going to a tiebreaker in match number 3. I'll see you there. First, go back to the main menu for a little bit of commentary. And there it is. The series is tied up 1-1 after that great hold by Harry Spiders in a good defensive position. Very favorable to defenders, I think, on that map, but did a very good job. King's Indian attack, I think he could have pulled it off, but it was just a little disorganized, a little bit sloppy, and it was just a not a very good position. Maybe he should have been a little more patient getting up on that hill before attacking, but Harry Spiders did a good job of calling him on it and sort of shifting his army when it looked like King's Indian was moving over to get on that hill. Harry Spiders was right there to say, I'm going to keep you off this hill, you're going to attack me head on or nothing. And most of these units are pretty normal in terms of kills, but look at this on Harry Spiders. One Katana Samurai, 245 kills, and Nagana Monk with 256. Just a great individual effort by those units. Not a whole lot of kills here for King's Indian. I mean, look at that. Lost 1,921 men. It's just not the kind of attack you want to get on that sort of map, but we're going to a tiebreaker map to see which one of these two deserves to move on to face Indie Pride and lose round 6. So we'll see you there. Thanks for watching, everybody.